Hey, it's Brian with Reclaimed Republic. Thanks for stopping in. If this is your first time here, I'm a full-time reseller and part-time YouTube content creator. On eBay, I sell in the everything category, so you'll get a good snapshot of that here in just a few minutes. Today we're going to go through kind of a restart or a refresh to my eBay store that's going on right now, and then we're going to talk about the 5 worst and then the 5 best sales from last week. Stick around. So I noticed over the past couple of weeks, I've seen, about the past 3 weeks, kind of seen a downward trend in sales on eBay and my eBay store, as well as the profit margins. And there's a few different factors that play into that. I think my merchandise is too low priced. And I say low price, not that I'm lowballing, but that it's inexpensive merchandise. I don't have as many high ticket items going out. Typically my higher ticket items have much better profit margins attached to them. So I have fewer and fewer of those going out. The pricing, the item cost of my inventory is not where it needs to be. So I don't have enough higher value items. Tie that into my acquisition cost being higher than normal. I'm not in garage sale season, so I'm primarily shopping estate sales and thrift stores, and I'm paying more for merchandise right now than I typically would if I was shopping at garage sales. So it's really caused me to stop and think about my eBay store and really so I did kind of a full review of everything I had listed. I went through and I delisted about 30 items in the last couple days that, looking at no action, low value items, and just weren't adding anything to my store. So I delisted those. Those are going to go in a donation bucket, and they're going to go to the thrift store. Those aren't items that I feel like having take up space in my store any longer. In addition to that, I picked on another about 35, 40 items that had a little bit, some views, maybe a watcher, but just lower value and very old in the store. And I put those on a 50% sale through the end of the week. And then I'm going to see what happens at the end of the week. And I may take that same group of items and increase it to 75% off just as a clearance to move things out. And if they don't sell at 75% off, they're getting donated. So again, there are a lot of low value items that I just need them to be gone. They're not adding, there's not a big benefit to my store right now other than the item count, which item count doesn't matter to me as much as sales quantity and sales dollars coming in. I don't really care if I have 1,000 or 100 items if I'm making sales and dollars are coming in with it, and profit, obviously. But so I'm making a change there. I've also really kind of taken stock at how I'm sourcing. So when I don't have garage sales available to me, and I had some last weekend. There were some garage sales going on. Not great ones, but there was a few out. The weather was a little nicer last weekend. But while we're not heavy in that season, I need to diversify where I'm sourcing. I need to lower my acquisition cost, and I need to have different outlets to pick up higher value items. One thing I don't take advantage of today, and I couldn't tell you why, I just haven't, are flea markets. So there's about 4 or 5 flea markets in the Oklahoma City metro area. I know they exist, and I've shopped at them personally a long time ago. I've not gone there to source items to sell on eBay, and I don't know why. I watch people online on YouTube that shop at flea markets. I'm like, man, those are some great deals, and I haven't been doing that. So that's a miss on my part. I do have a Goodwill bins here in Oklahoma City. I've been to it a couple times, picked up a few things there, but each time I've been, it's just one of those things that if it's not something you do regularly or you really enjoy, it can be a little bit stressful. And I've never just, once I've gone in there, I've never found so many things. I'm like, man, I have to keep coming back here. But it's probably time to revisit that. I haven't been in probably, 2 or 3 years. So it's probably time to revisit the bins and see what it's like today. I might be able to pick up some inventory there that can, the cost should be significantly cheaper than buying at regular Goodwill or other thrift stores or an estate sale, something like that. The con is you have to sift through the bins and you got to elbow other people out of the way and go look for that stuff. But it's something I'm going to try within the next week. I'll be out at the bins. I'm going to go 2 or 3 different times just to get a feel for the different days, how, is there more or less traffic, that kind of thing, and just see how that goes. Other than that, visiting the thrift stores that I do visit, I have 4 Goodwills that are within 10 to 15 minutes of my house, kind of in each direction. There's 2 about a mile from my house that are a mile apart, and then there's about 5 or 6 miles from my house. There's 2 more that are about a mile apart from each other. So it's a good little route to run, just kind of in a circle and come back home. But I'm going to make sure that I'm visiting those consistently, because at Goodwills, if you shop at Goodwills or source there, just when you're there, you can hear them, hey, we have more merchandise coming on the floor. We have more merchandise. And they're just constantly bringing stuff out onto the floor. So it's just, it's a little bit of what time you're there and did they bring out the stuff that you want to buy. It's most of what they bring out is clothes. I'm not a heavy clothes buyer. That's something else I'm looking into as well. I started on eBay with clothing and, watching resellers online. A lot of it is clothing focused. There's plenty of people who don't, but there's a lot of clothing focused resellers. And one thing that I used to do pretty well with and I got away from was jeans. I used to do pretty well with jeans whenever I was living in Illinois. We had a Salvation Army actually that had fantastic pricing on their jeans, and there were so many. So it was so much to pick from that it was sometimes you just have to stop because there was so much. But so that's something, even if it on a given day, if 4 or 5 days a week, I can pick up 2 pair of jeans in a day that are $40 plus sales, you're talking about $400 in sell value merchandise in a week, just picking up 2 pair of jeans a day. I don't know if that's going to be possible. I'm not extremely familiar yet with all the brands that are in this area. I can take a guess. There's going to be lots of Wranglers and Ariats and Rustlers and that kind of thing, just because there's that's a lot of the fashion around here, but we'll see. So that's something else I'm going to be keeping my eye out for. I went through and we're looking at sold comps on eBay, $40 and up of different brands of men's jeans, and just made myself a long list of stuff to look out for that I've got a picture of it on my phone that I can reference whenever I'm in the store, and just to make sure if I see a brand name I don't recognize, just see if it's worth picking up or not. But so I'll be keeping my eyes out for that as well. So I'm going to expand my my shopping vision a little bit, and also look for other places to source to lower my acquisition cost and just give me some more options. That's what I'm going to be doing to reset my eBay store. I'll keep talking about that as it's progressing and let you know, if I'm finding the deals or if I'm getting skunked. We'll just have to see about that. But that's it. Nothing scandalous or, huge, but yeah, just as the sales have been trending down a little bit, it's my job to figure out how to take them in the opposite direction. There's nobody else here. It's just me to sit down and slap myself around and turn the sales around. So that's what we're doing. All right. Well, let's get into this. It was a very short list. There was only 20 sales last week, so I'm glad there was enough that I could have a top, worst 5 and a best 5. There have been weeks, just a handful of months ago, where I couldn't have made a top 10 list, or there would have been overlap in the middle. So glad to have the sales. So I did send 20 items out the door last week. Total sales between item sales and shipping revenue was $436.57. After taking out shipping expense, promo fees, platform fees, cost of goods, everything, ended up with a pre-tax profit of $135.27, or a 31% profit margin. Not a great profit week at all. I was a little embarrassed by that by the time I got all the calculation done, to be honest with you. The number one source for products last week was estate sales. It's been a lot more of my focus because garage sale season hasn't been here, so makes sense. I had 8 promoted sales, or 40% of the items listed, and items sold on an offer or a store sale were 55% of the items. 11 items were 55% of the items. And 4 double dips. So 4 items are sold on either an offer or a store sale and were promoted. So only 4, which is pretty good this week. It's a lower percentage than it has been in the past several weeks. I did run another store sale this past weekend. I ran it at 30% off again, similar to what I did last week, and didn't have near the results. So only sold about 7 or 8 items over the weekend, and I was kind of surprised by that. But again, I need different, more, whatever you want to call it, merchandise in my store to really prompt those sales. If you don't have stuff people want to buy, the 30% off is not going to make them buy it. So just the way that goes. All right, now let's look at the worst 5 sales of the week. So coming in at number 5 this is a cool hat. This Turner Brothers palm hat. I bought this in an estate sale for $2.20. When I saw it, it was in the $2 thing, and they charged tax there. So, but I bought it immediately. I thought it was so cool. I was like, this is so unique. I'd never seen one before. I thought, this is so unique. This is going to sell. This is going to be like a $40 hat. I just knew it. And then I got it home, and there's so many of them listed on eBay, different varieties. The sell-through rate on them is horrible because it's not something people wear anymore. I mean, people probably, I'm sure whoever bought this one's putting it on a shelf somewhere with some other trucking memorabilia that they have. So it's not fashion. It's not like the other, like the trucker vintage hats. I just thought it was so cool. But in any case, and most of the ones that have sold were, for any decent money at all, and I say decent, like 15 to 20 bucks, were really very well-known brands, like oil and gas type brands. This was a local trucking brand, so I sold it for $8.89 plus shipping, made a $3.57 pre-tax profit, or 24% profit margin. So glad to see it go. It was a cool hat. I actually tried it on. I thought about doing a video with it, but the thing sat up off my head like it was huge, and it was crazy. So I decided to not do that. Number 4 is this. So fourth worst sale of the week is this Salad Master 12-inch skillet. Has a vintage Revereware lid on it. This one was a sale over the weekend. Sold on Friday afternoon. It was huge blunder on my part. Huge. I did include it in the 30% off sale, which didn't bother me. And it wasn't until Monday morning, whenever I was getting all my information together to talk about what sold over the weekend, that I realized I sold it with free shipping. Had the wrong shipping policy attached to it. In it, of course, it didn't ship down the street. It was several states away. But I picked it up for $8.60, sold it for $30.02 free shipping, for a $3.41 pre-tax profit, or 11% profit margin. All right, we're going to skip past that one. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So the third worst sale of the week was this Kwikset door handle. I picked this up at a church sale for $15. I did comp it at the sale, and I thought it had higher comps, but I must have been looking at a wrong model or something. It was sold for $24.89 plus shipping. Whenever I looked at sold comps, they were all around 25 bucks. So I priced it right in line, got it out the door, made it $2.82 pre-tax profit, or 18% profit margin. Sorry, 8% profit margin, not 18, 8% profit margin. Oh man, that was not a great one either. Second worst sale of the week is this Thorson This is an 8mm socket. It's just a single socket. It was in one of the socket kits I bought from an estate sale in Colorado. I pulled out a few random sockets that didn't belong in the set. This was one of them. I saw that they randomly sold just that brand of their vintage sockets. So I put a cost of $0 on there because I've made a ton of money on the socket sets that I've sold already. But so $0 cost. I sold it on the 30% off sale for $2.02 plus shipping. Paid $4.50 shipping on it for a $1.25 pre-tax profit, or a 19% profit margin. And then the worst sale of the week. This was a fun one, not exactly. So this Revereware, it's a 1.5 quart saucepan. It was in decent shape when I bought it. Didn't take much to clean it up at all. And it wasn't until I got home and flipped it over to just wipe the bottom down that I realized it was from Indonesia. It wasn't a vintage piece. I didn't realize that. But they do sell. The demand for those is so much lower than the regular pieces, the vintage pieces. But I paid $5.30 for it at a Goodwill. I listed it for $14.89. Looking back on it, I think I may have accidentally comped like a 1 quart, because I probably should have had it at $17.89 or $18.89, but I had it at $14.89. Sold it very fast, maybe in 2 hours. And I was like, wow, somebody must really want a piece from Indonesia. And maybe they did. But it wasn't until Monday morning, again, whenever I put my numbers together, and I realized I sold it with free shipping. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm losing money. And of course, it sold to somebody in California. So I'm shipping it from Oklahoma, the center of the country, to the West Coast. Lost $4.13 on the whole deal for a negative 28% profit margin. Could have been so much worse. You know, there could be much worse things that happened than losing $4.13. Luckily, that thing was in really good condition whenever I bought it, which makes sense. It wasn't an old piece, so there was very little cleaning to do on it. But yeah, I would still buy pieces from Indonesia in the future if the cost is lower. If the cost was lower and I priced it up a little bit, and I remember to include the shipping, I could do okay with them. But yeah, that was a bummer. Yeah, those are the 5 worst sales of the week. Only lost money on one of them, which is better than more than one, but that's the way that went last week. So now we can talk about the best 5 sales of the week. And because of the conversation I was having earlier about the lower value of product selling, there's not any massive winners here, but there's definitely some money here. So we'll talk about those. Coming in at number 5, so 5th best sale of the week, is this Lustercraft saucepan. This was a new brand to me. Whenever I saw it at a thrift store, I could see the rim, and it looked like Salad Master. And then I looked at the handle, and it wasn't the right handle. I thought, that's weird. I was like, well, maybe it's permanent stainless steel. So I picked it up, and it said Lustercraft, and it was, I think, a 3-ply or a 3-ply stainless steel. It was really heavy. It was a really heavy piece. So I comped it, and I found a comp that had sold somewhat recently. So I went off that comp and paid $5.40 for it. Sold it for $19.89 plus shipping. The comp I found sold at $20. So I just priced it right in line, which yielded a $10.41 pre-tax profit, or 33% profit margin. The 4th best sell of the week is this Vera Bradley clutch wallet. It's a really nice piece. I picked it up at a garage sale a few months ago for $2 and sent it out the door with the 30% off coupon at $14.74 plus shipping. That was a $10.72 pre-tax profit, or 51% profit margin. Still have a couple more pieces of Vera, but yeah, found a whole bunch of them, like 5 or 6 different pieces for $2 a piece. Really, I think $2 might even been a little bit too high for those, but for that one, it worked. Some of the smaller ones that are lower value, it's going to be less money made. Good thing is they were all really clean, and they're so easy to take pictures of. So I got pictures of all of them in like 10 minutes. All right, coming in at number 3 is this Stanley 24-inch ruler that has brass caps on the end of it. I picked that up at the same estate sale with all the tools in Colorado. Picked it up for $2.20 and considered keeping it. I thought about using it for pictures of products and whenever I'm taking pictures for eBay, except for the numbers go from the top down, not the bottom up. So just didn't quite work out. So I looked it up on eBay, what they sold for, and was like, oh, I should sell this thing. So paid $2.20, sold it for $16.72 plus shipping for a $10.97 pre-tax profit or a 40% profit margin. That was a really cool item. I'd never seen one like that before. I never see another one, but thought it was pretty cool. Number 2 is another Thorson item. That's funny. Second worst was a Thorson. Second best is a Thorson. I just noticed that. Thorson screwdriver lot. So I picked up these Thorson screwdrivers at that same estate sale where I bought the sockets and the ruler. They're really nice screwdrivers, and I didn't comp them or anything. I was like, these will sell. Great brand, great quality, good condition, and I'll just put them in a lot. So I paid $4 for the lot of screwdrivers and sold them. I had to make up my own price. I ended up taking an offer. So I think I put them at maybe 27 or 29. I wasn't sure, 25, somewhere in there. I don't remember. But there was no sold comps or listed comps or anything, not in product research going back 3 years. Just was really nothing there. So took an offer for $20 plus shipping. So sent those out the door for a $12.63 pre-tax profit or 44% profit margin. And then number 1. You know you're having a rough week when your number 1 sale is a $17.42 sale. But it was. So number 1 is this vintage plum claw hammer. This is the 4th or 5th, 6th one of these I've sold in varying conditions and handle styles. But this one has the original handle on it. Pretty clean head. Picked it up for $1 about a week and a half ago. Picked it up for $1 at an estate sale. Bought a handful of different tools and stuff there, and he had 4 different hammers. 2 of them were plum hammers, and there was no pricing. He said hammers were $2. I was like, that'll work. And then when I went to check out, he goes, you bought so much stuff, I'm going to do the hammers for $1 a piece too. Cool. So paid $1. Sold it for $17.42 plus shipping for a $13.46 pre-tax profit or a 49% profit margin. That's it for the week. No awesome sales, couple of really bad sales, but that's just the way it's been going. But keep working on it, keep improving and getting better, just like I was talking about earlier. So there's lots of changes I'm going to be making to my sourcing, to the items that I'm sourcing in addition to the places, and just being more consistent on some of the places that I'm going. So I think that's all going to pay off, but we'll just have, the proof's going to be in the sales. That's where it's going to be. So we'll just have to watch and see. I really appreciate you joining. If you have any comments or questions, please leave those down below. If you want to see more videos like this of items that have sold, check out this video right here. Till next time, have a great day.